It is my pleasure to welcome Jan de Pauw, the Executive Director of Ecopower, a renewable energy cooperative based in Belgium, which is famous for a couple of things. First of all, a cooperation, an energy cooperation, kind of inspiring for us in the Czech Republic, providing sustainable energy from renewable sources, mainly wind, solar, but also hydropower. And next to that, and what's equally important for me, initiative that's based on raising the awareness and promoting the sustainable energy approach. Jan, welcome once again. Thank you for joining us for this interview. Please tell me, did I introduce you? Did I introduce Ecopower correctly, or is there anything else you would like to add?
Yes, Ecopower is a citizen energy cooperative founded in 1991. So we exist for 30 years now. But the first 10 years, it was a lot of work, but done by volunteers. And it's after 10 years, we could build the first cooperative wind turbine here in my city in Eeklo. And that was the start of the progress of the energy cooperative, because we could create an income to pay people to work for the cooperative. And that was the start of the real start of the activities of the cooperative.
If you can tell me a little bit more, how did you come up with becoming a cooperative? Like, if I remember correctly, it began with a few friends buying a water mill, right? The first turbine was hydro turbine. What happened in the meantime? Like, how come you ended up with cooperative rather than business association?
Yeah. So that was in the early 90s, were people living on the side of an old small hydro power station, not producing electricity, but used to make grain, to make bread. So they wanted to restore the site, and they had the idea to connect a generator to it and to use the electricity they could produce locally. So they get the subsidy for the restoration, and they put the generator on it. But once it was finished, they found out that they couldn't share the electricity amongst the houses in the neighborhood of the water mill, because the legislation was not in place yet. So they had to wait for the legislation that it is possible for citizen cooperatives to inject electricity and to use that electricity at home. And that's exactly what they did 10 years after the first small hydro plant.
Mm-hmm. If I also remember correctly, it is not really a sharing what is happening now in Ecopower, right? You are, rather than sharing, you are purchasing the energy from the sources, which could be in your own belongings, but it can be in private belongings of particular members. And then the purchased energy you sell again to whoever is interested.
What we do, we produce, we share, and we save energy together. And to do so, we are an energy community with a license to become a supplier for our members. Mm-hmm. So we supply the produced energy to our members. We don't sell it to the market. And the price we ask is the price to produce the electricity with a small margin to pay the people who work for the cooperative. So it's a manner of sharing electricity, but legally we had to become the supplier. And that was made possible in 2003 when Europe started the liberalization of the energy market. So everybody could become a license to become supplier at the same conditions as the big energy companies. And that's exactly what Ecopower did in 2003. So we are offering this service to our members since 2003. And what we see is that the majority of the members uses the produced electricity at home. More than 85% of the members is also client and uses the electricity at home.
So in order to become a member, what do I have to do? Who I need to be? Like, do I need to be a private person? Can I be a municipality? Can I be a small enterprise? What do I have to do in order to become a member? And do I have to produce? Do I have to be a producer myself?
Yeah. To become a member, you have to buy at least one share of the cooperative. One share is €250. And as you become a member, you get access to all the services the cooperative is producing. We are a citizen energy cooperative. That means that our purpose is to serve citizens, but we see that a lot of small enterprises also become a member. They can use the electricity at home at the same price. So every member has one vote in the general meeting, undepending the amount of shares. So the maximum shares is 20, but you still have one vote. And in the board of directors, everybody can be a candidate to become a director. There are no seats that are strictly for some people of politicians or industry. All members are equal and can become a director. So that means that if I'm not pleased with the way my cooperative is managed, we can, as members, we can vote the whole board of directors at home and select new directors. So that's real democratic management.
Can you relate that to the ownership of the renewable energy sources? We have said that you operate with wind turbines, photovoltaics, and some hydropower plants. So who actually is the owner of all those installations? Is it the cooperative itself, or can there be private owners that just sell their energy to the cooperative?
Yeah. The members of the cooperative are the owners of the production installations, because they are the shareholders of the cooperative. And since we open all the projects for 100% citizen participation, we have a little bit debt at the bank, and we have collected a lot of citizen capital. That means that we don't have debt at the bank, and we have financial autonomy. And that means also that the members are the owners of the installations. 70% of our members only has one share, €250 invested. And 85% is using the electricity at home. That means that the big majority of the members enters the cooperative not to become rich from the investment they made, but to get access to the local produced renewable energy at a fair price. And it's thanks to the 30% people who invested more than one share and invested more than needed to produce the electricity they use at home, that everybody, also the 70% who only has one share, can have access to the yearly consumption of their electricity. That's the internal solidarity that plays in the cooperative.
So what I can do if I have means to invest more than one share, like there is a way I can invest more money. But what about if I already own a, I don't know, very small hydropower plant? Like, is there a way I can join with this source?
Yes. At this moment, Ecopower has almost 71,000 members, and 40% of them have solar panels on their roof, on their own roof, installed themselves. So that means that when the sun is shining, that they have an overproduction and they have solar energy entering the grid. So what Ecopower does is we buy the surplus energy from the members with solar panels, and we share that surplus with the members who have no solar panels. So you don't have to be a producer to become a member. You can be just a consumer, but as becoming a member by buying at least one share, you invest in the collective installations of Ecopower, and you become also a producer, but a collective producer. So Ecopower invested first in wind turbines, cooperative wind turbines. We operate 20 cooperative wind turbines in Flanders. We have 400 collective solar installations, mostly on public roofs and on roofs of schools, so the big roofs. And we have 3 small hydro plants, which produce electricity for our members.
In terms of megawatts installed, how much is that altogether?
In terms of megawatts installed, it's almost 50 megawatt wind power, 10 megawatt collective solar power, but 40 megawatt individual solar power at the roofs of our members. And in total, we produce yearly almost 100 gigawatt hours. And that's enough to supply all our members at home. So 65,000 members who use the electricity at home. So we cover the yearly consumption of our own members.
Yeah, but that's in terms of an annual saldo, right? If we relate to the daily reality or monthly reality, you still need to purchase some energy from the market.
So that's correct. On yearly basis, because as a supplier, we have to balance our production with the consumption of our users. So that means that every hour we have to be in balance. 70% of the hours we have overproduction, and we can sell the overproduction to the market. But 30% of the hours we are short in energy, and we have to buy a part of the energy on the market. And that's the effect we have seen last year during the energy crisis. The energy bill of our members was far lower than the average energy bill at commercial suppliers, because they had to buy all their energy at high prices on the energy market, and we only had to buy 30% of the energy at high prices. 70% we produced ourselves at cost. And that's the reason why an average member last year had an advantage of almost 600 euro on his yearly electricity bill.
Great. One question that remained unanswered: why cooperative? Why this form of organization? Like
the cooperative in Belgium, in the Belgian legislation, it makes possible that you have a flexible amount of members and a flexible amount of capital into your cooperative. So that's very useful for a cooperative, because there are always new members coming in with new capital. So every year the membership structure is different. So that's an advantage for the cooperative enterprise. But of course, the values of a cooperative, the democratic control, the autonomy, the fact that you produce good stuff, not harming the environment, the education of the members on renewable energy, but also on cooperative entrepreneurship. That's also very important. It's the way to create a company that is very next to an energy community aspect, and that's the reason.
I always remember the story you told me last time we met in Brussels, how they call you communists, and you answer them no. No.
Yes. The first question we get sometimes is, are you Marxists? Because you do things collectively. And our answer is always, no, we maybe are the only Democrats in the room, because our enterprise is fully democratic controlled. And most enterprises are not democratic controlled, but controlled on capital. And the biggest shareholder has the most vote. So that's not democratic control. Yeah. And then they understand what we try to say and how we are organized. They understand that we are living in a democratic controlled country, but our economy is not democratic controlled. Our economy is based on the power of the money. Yeah.
True.
Not the power of the people.
I love the example that in the national elections or the presidential elections, whatever money you have, however rich you are, you always have one vote.
That's correct.
That's super inspiring. On the other hand, let's be honest, could that be a barrier for some richer enterprises or richer people to join? Couldn't it be bigger scaled if some richer people were motivated to join?
No, we don't see that. We have a cap of 20 shares, so the maximum you can invest is 5,000 euro. Why? Because we don't want big investors into the organization, because big investors, they after some time, they want more power. So we like to have a lot of small investors and not a few big investors. What we see is that big companies are not interested to become a member, because they only can invest 5,000 euro and they only have one vote, such as a citizen. So, but what we do, if we do a project together with a company or a municipality, then we do it on a contractual base. So we make a contract writing down that we will do this project together, and how we will organize. So that's an alternative to create an SPV, a special purpose vehicle, because some municipalities don't want to create new companies and become a partner in a company, and that's a perfect way to work together. So they can at that moment participate for more than 5,000 euro. For instance, in the wind turbine, the last cooperative wind turbine in Eeklo, the city of Eeklo can participate 25% into the wind turbine, is almost 1 million euro. That's a way of working together with municipalities and companies.
Yeah, that was basically one of my very important questions, because this is the interview for the Association of Small Municipalities of the Czech Republic. My very important question was like, how could a municipality participate? What is the role of municipalities? In this nice example of wind turbine eco, like how is the share and divided? Like, did you say 25% of the wind turbine is owned by the municipality of Eco itself, and the rest 75% belongs to the Ecopower corporation?
Yes, we work together with 3 parties. 50% is Ecopower, 25% is Volterra, that's a local citizen energy cooperative, and 25% is the municipality, the city of Eeklo. And that means that we operate it together. Ecopower has the responsibility for the exploitation and the maintenance, operation and maintenance. But we share the costs. All the partners, we share the costs and we share the profit. So 25% of the profit coming out of the project is going to the municipality of Eeklo, 25% is going to Volterra, 50% is going to Ecopower.
I'm not sure if I understood correctly. Did you have to establish a new company for that?
No, we didn't create a new company. We did it on with a contract. We made a contract with the 3 partners describing why we work together to create the project, how we would operate it during 20 years, and how we would share the costs and the profits. That's what we did.
How does the decision-making process go in this case? Like, Eeklo is 25% of share. Do they have 25% of vote in this very particular project?
We agreed to agree always unanimously.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's not a big deal to run a wind turbine project. The only thing we have to do is if we have problems, we have to find a good solution for the problems, and then we have to contact the partners. We do we give the solution that we think is the best, and then we can agree on it or find another solution. But we never had the need to vote on it, because if you vote on it and there is one of the 3 partners which is not comfortable with the decision, it's not a good decision. You have to find a better decision.
Amazing. Can you tell us more about the cooperation with municipalities and like local authorities?
Yeah.
Eeklo is obviously one of the good examples. Are there more?
Well, I will tell you the story of Eeklo. Eeklo was the first city in Belgium who created a wind energy plan. We have a good location nearby the North Sea, at 30 kilometers away, so we have a lot of wind. And an alderman of the city of Eeklo had some holiday in Denmark, and there he has seen in the beginning of 2000 that there were a lot of wind turbines in hands of municipalities and of citizen initiatives. So he came home and he tried to look if it was possible to copy that model in Eeklo. And they were very smart. They took the map of Eeklo, they looked for the public ground, and they saw that there were a few good spots to build wind turbines far away from the houses that were in hands of the city. And they made a public tender, a call for candidates who wanted to build 2 wind turbines on public ground with a lot of points, 30% of the points on citizen participation, because they wanted the citizens to participate in such a big renewable energy project, which would be seen by every inhabitant of the city of Eeklo. And that's how I got in contact with Ecopower. I'm living in Eeklo since I was a little child. So Eeklo had published the tender, and Ecopower had won the tender. They won the tender because they had all the points on citizen participation, because their offer was 100% citizen participation. Ecopower, the first thing they did was they had an information session in the municipality for all the inhabitants, and they were explaining, we have won the concession, we want to build 2 wind turbines in the city. This will not be our wind turbines, it will be your wind turbines, because we are looking for a few thousand people to become a member of the cooperative, to give us some money that we can pay for the wind turbine, and as soon as possible, we will make it possible that you can use the electricity we will produce together, that you can use it at home. So that was the first time I got in contact with Ecopower. I was immediately in love with the cooperative model. I became a member. I bought some shares. My member number is 300, and now we are 71,000. And that's how it works. So the start was, in the beginning, it was an idea of the municipality, who used the democratic force of a public tender on public ground to create the opportunity for citizens to participate in the first wind project in Belgium. And it's thanks to Ecopower and the city of Eeklo that the cooperative became a producer. It got some income in the cooperative. With that income, they could pay people to start working for the cooperative. And that was the real start of Ecopower as an energy cooperative. So the collaboration between the municipality and the citizen initiative makes things possible, because the municipality, they can create the legislation, the local legislation for it, and the the citizen cooperative, they can collect the capital needed to invest in the project and to realize the project.
If it wasn't me, I would call this approach of the local government of Eeklo very enlightened.
Yes.
And the question is, now after all those years, like let's say it's 10 years ago or even more, right? 15 years ago, maybe it's happened. How normal or how rare the example of Eeklo can be called? Like, are there other municipalities that are following this example, or can we still call the approach of Eeklo enlightened in comparison with other towns in Belgium or Flanders?
So what we have seen the first year that we had built the wind turbines in Eeklo, there were a lot of other municipalities who came to visit Eeklo. They wanted to know, how did you do it? But there was no replication because most of them were afraid to do the same thing. But what we see after 2016, with the Covenant of Mayors, when a lot of municipalities and cities started to sign the Covenant of Mayors, and they created a sustainable energy action plan. In most of the plans is indicated we should create something that people can participate. And then they start thinking about energy cooperatives. And we have seen since 2016 that there is a new wave of interest in the way Eclo has created the first wind turbines. And now what we see is that they are not afraid anymore to replicate it. There are more than 50 cities already who have a decision of the council, the municipality council, that is indicated that if there would be a big wind or solar project, that it must be together with citizen initiatives and with citizen participation. So that's a big difference. The only handicap is that in Belgium, a decision of a municipality council, you can't force it by a judge. It's not a law. It's a local legislation, but you can't force it. And that's why we always look at the law in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, in 2019, they have created a climate agreement with all the political parties, and they made a law that every developer was obliged to make a participation plan for every big wind or solar park they wanted to construct. And that participation plan must be accepted by the municipality as because they can't ask for a permit, a building permit, if the municipality does not does not agree with the participation plan. So that is a big reason for the developers to work together with the municipality and work together with the citizen initiatives and build those wind and sun parks together. And
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Like, even if the park is built on private properties, like we're not talking about the municipal properties.
Correct. Even if it's not on public property. That's because in Belgium, that's also the case. We still are looking at the ground if we are looking for energy projects and the property of the ground. But in this case, we are using renewable energy sources. We have to look up, and the wind and the sun is not the property of the owner of the ground. The wind of the sun is a common. So it's perfectly normal that the local authorities can make the rules how we are going to harvest together the renewable energy sources as a common. And that's exactly what in the Netherlands they have done. They have created a law that everybody has to follow. And what they did in the Netherlands is what Europe asks, because Europe has the directives for energy communities. And what they ask for every member state is that they change their legislation, that citizen initiatives can have a level playing field to get access to the renewable energy sources. And that's exactly what the Netherlands did. So we are asking to our government to do the same thing as in the Netherlands.
How is it going? That was actually my next question. Like, Is there progress in Belgium in this aspect?
Yes, there is progress. We have asked the question to the Flemish Parliament to take an initiatives like in the Netherlands, and the question was accepted, and now there will be a political debate in the Commission Energy of the Flemish Parliament. And they will invite the specialists from the Netherlands to explain how they did it. So I hope that our politicians will have the courage to follow the example of the Netherlands. So and then if they create a law such as the Netherlands, then that means that every municipality with council decision with citizen participation will become a law and a fact. So that means that more renewable energy projects will be in hands of citizens and municipalities, and that developers, private developers, are obliged to work together with the local community.
I can imagine there must be a big lobby of the big developers against implementing such a law. This is actually one of the big barriers in the Czech Republic, as the mayors, their hands are empty in terms of if you want to build a big power plant of whatever kind in the area of a municipality, not on private lands, you as a mayor can do nothing about.
That's correct. That's correct. But the advantage is that in Belgium, almost the same developers are active as in the Netherlands. So in the Netherlands, they accepted the law. So there is no need to doubt that they will accept it in Belgium too.
Of course, like as soon as the law is implemented, they have.
That's correct.
One more topic that I don't want to leave aside is the energy poverty solution, because as I understood, at the moment there is running a pilot project in Ecopower. Can you tell us more about that?
Together with the city of Ecopower, we entered the Power Up project. It's a European project to find solutions for energy poverty. And what the city of Ecopower wanted was that we have almost 700 families living in poverty in the city of Ecopower. And there are almost 9,000 families living in Ecopower. We have 21,000 inhabitants. 500 to 1,000 are members of Ecopower, but to become a member, you have to buy at least one share of €250. Those people in poverty can't afford to pay €250 to become a member. So the idea was that the municipality did the pre-financing of a cooperative share of Ecopower, that those people can become a member, can get access to the services of the cooperative, such as electricity at a fair price, and have an advantage on the electricity bill. And with the advantage on the electricity bill, they can pay back the pre-financed share to the municipality. So that's the idea.
It's a form of loan.
Yeah.
I guess with a low interest or something.
Zero interest.
Okay.
So they have 6 years time to pay back for the €250 for the share. So it's €3 a month. They have to save for that. Normally, it should not be a problem, because the advantage on the energy bill will always be higher than the €3 they had have to pay back to the municipality for the share. If you look last year during the energy crisis, the average advantage was almost 600 euro. So if we have a winter as last year and prices as last year, it should be possible to pay back for the share in one winter with the advantage on the energy bill.
Is the project already running? Do you already have the first households that use this type of?
Yes. We started a pilot with 20 households now, and after the summer we are going to do the evaluation, and then we plan to go to 100 households.
One thing that I did not ask, and I still keep it in mind, is how do we actually, because in the beginning of this interview, we were talking about real engagement, right? Real democratic citizen engagement. But what does it mean in reality? How active your members actually are? How do you really, frankly, involve the shareholders? And the question is even stronger in case of those those households endangered by poverty. How do you engage them in collective decision making?
Yeah. First of all, we engage them on project-based. That means that if we want to do a project, a solar project or a wind project, we invite the people living around the project, and we invite them to become a member. And we tell them the same thing that 20 years ago I heard in the first information meeting, that it will not be an Ecopower project, that it will be a project for and from them. They can all join, become a member, and to use the energy at home. So that's the reason why during 20 years we never had to do a national campaign to collect money, to find members. We always found our members in the neighborhood of the projects, and we open the projects for 100% citizen participation. So we stop collecting money when the full amount of money we need to pay all the bills to build the installation can be paid. So that's the first approach. The second approach is, once they are a member, we invite them to come to the general meeting. Yeah, we are a lot of members now, 71,000. So they are not all coming to the general meeting.
Where does it take place? Like in a football stadium?
So that should be a football stadium or something like that. But last general meeting of April, there were 5,000 members following the general meeting. But we had a hybrid general meeting. There were 400 members physical on location, and more than 4,000 members following at home online. And to prepare them for the general meeting, the weeks before, we have several information sessions on the financial themes, on the project themes, and on the social impact themes. So there they can ask all their questions and get the details of what we have done the last year. That's in April. And in October, after the summer, we always invite our members to energy cafes. So, and then we use the topics that the members bring on the table, and we prepare it. And mostly it's a combination of information sessions and interaction with the public, so that they can bring their ideas, their questions, their doubts into the sessions. So that are two big moments that we look for interaction with the members, but what we see is that the big majority of the members, they don't want to have a lot of interaction. They like the way the cooperative is working, and they don't follow the general meeting, for instance, because when we asked that question, for instance, on the energy cafes, who already participated to a general meeting, and the majority says, no, I didn't. Why not? And the two main answers are, one, I believe in my cooperative, they do good work, so why should I go to the general meeting? And second, the general meeting is always far from my home. But that's not correct anymore, because it's now the third year that you can follow it online since Corona.
Belgium is a small country.
Yeah. So the people who want to be involved can easily be involved. Also, during the year, we have information letters to the members, information on the website. You can contact very easily by email or by phone the people working for the cooperative, because we have our own, as a supplier, our own people who are working for the supplier department of Ecopower, and you can get in contact just calling the contact center.
Yeah, and one last question. If you can reflect on, I would like to tell you, like, what barriers are we facing? And I would like you to reflect on whether it's similar or whether your situation in Belgium had been advantages in any aspects, or if you could tell what could be the lessons learned. So we still, even though 30 years after the fall of communism, we still are struggling with this kind of centralized mentality, right? We were used and raised in a system where the state provides everything. All the services that exist around you are provided by the state. There was collective action, there was motivation for collective action, but collective action organized by the state. So, of course, it is legally possible. Of course, there are small corporations, small enterprises now. But in terms of like a larger scaling of a decentralized system of energy, and energy is one of the sectors, one of the last remaining sectors that has been untouched by this new decentralized, really democratic approach. Energy, more or less, is you can have your own installation on your roof, but that's all basically. Energy is strongly centralized. The people do not really trust, like very many mayors of municipalities, very many citizens cannot imagine a system in which they are taking the energy into their own hands. Therefore, I'd like to ask, like, how was it in Belgium in other aspects? Like, are you used to build citizen initiatives of this scale, of this size? Are you really used to invest in collective properties, or was also energy in a way new, or how do you think we should overcome this rather mental than regulatory, than legal, than financial barrier? Because I honestly think that the biggest barrier in my country is psychological rather than other.
Yeah. That's also what I hear from Rescope Europe. Rescope Europe is the European Federation of Energy Cooperatives. And we hear that in Eastern of Europe, that in the mind of the people, there is a connection between cooperatives and communism. And that should not be there. Because what we do as a cooperative, we find collective solutions on collective problems on a democratic way. So we take our supply and our production of our energy in our own hands. We don't rely on that, on the municipality or on the state. Why? Because we have seen in Belgium, 20 years ago, 20% of the production of electricity in Belgium was by state companies. And they sold the state companies to private companies to get access to money for the state. So, and at that time, prices of energy started to become higher.
Oh.
And that's, we have seen, you can trust your government for 100%, because if they are in need for money, they will sell the public installations. And if we want to stay on control of such an important thing of our own energy, we have to do it ourselves. And that's why we always tell the only installations who will never be sold to the Chinese will be the cooperative installations. Why? Because we are the owners and they are producing cheap electricity for ourselves. So we never are going to be so stupid to sell it to other companies. And that's a big issue. We see a very tight connection from our members being a shareholder, owner of the installations, and being a consumer of the electricity we produce ourselves. So that's a very strong bond. We are at the same time owners of the company and users of the electricity. So we decide ourselves how much that has to cost, that electricity, how high the electricity bill has to be, that we still have as a cooperative enough income to pay all the bills, to pay the people who are working for us, and to pay for the shareholder a little dividend, because they gave us the money we can work with. So it's a good balance between a small dividend as a shareholder and a big advantage on the electricity bill. So if you look at that way, then you can get the interest of the people. The example of Eclo, when Eclo started to sign the Covenant of Mayors and created the first Sustainable Energy Action Plan, they calculated how many money was leaving the city of Eclo every year buying fossil fuels. It was an amount of 40 million euro every year that goes out of the city of Eclo, out of the local economy.
In comparison with renewable energy production.
Yes, 40 million euro. There we can buy 10 wind turbines with that money every year. And it will produce more energy than we need for ourselves if we do so. So that's the reason why we want to have more renewable energy in hands of energy cooperatives.
What I wrote down is you cannot trust the government. You have to do it yourself. But
for 100%.
Honestly, this is an idea that I strongly believe, or I'm almost would work here. This sentence, this will work. It's kind of Robin Hood story, right? Like,
yeah.
Taking from the rich, giving to the poor. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I hope to see you soon in Eclo. If you don't mind, I organize a small trip, and we all together with some colleagues would truly love to visit Eclo and hear much more about that.
Yeah, I like to invite you because 20 years ago, the city of Eclo got inspired by the Danish example. We should spread the good news and inspire you with the Belgium example now.
True. Now, 20 years ago, our children will say our fathers went to Eco, got inspired, and look how great it is now.
Yeah.
Well, once again, thanks so much. I wish you all the best.
Yes, all the luck, Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Zmínil jste komunitní energetiku, tak už dneska máme na vládě ten dlouho očekávaný Lex 2, tuším se tomu říká.
Ano.
Je dobrý nebo špatný?
Zaplať pánbůh, že ho máme. To je první asi poznámka, protože jsme na něj čekali velmi dlouho, vláda ho schválila a nyní putuje do Poslanecké sněmovny. My doufáme v velmi rychlé projednání a doufáme, že tam bude konstruktivní dialog i s opozicí, protože tato norma by neměla být prohlasována nějak takzvaně na krev. Jsme si vědomi úzkých míst i na straně toho, že máme zde nějakou energetickou stabilitu, naší bezpečnost naší sítě, ale přesto tam vnímáme intenzivně několik okruhů, o kterých bychom chtěli jednat. A to z řady důvodů, protože se domníváme, že jak to bude nastaveno na začátek, na to, jak budou zaváděna energetická společenství, jak bude zaváděna celý koncept komunitní energetiky, tak to ovlivní i míru a ochotu masivního zapojení obcí do tohoto konceptu. A my vidíme v zahraničí, že to jde, že to nemusí být vůbec administrativně náročné, a obáváme se, že ten zákon přináší určité administrativní překážky, které by bylo ještě vhodné zvážit, když to řeknu velmi jemně. My tam vnímáme problematické zaprvé omezení počtu odběratelů nebo účastníků v tom jednom energetickém společenství, které míří na poměrně nízkou číslovku 1000, což my víme už dnes od našich obcí, že pro mnohé jejich plánované projekty to prostě nestačí. Já jsem měl možnost mluvit i se zástupci národní sítě místních akčních skupin, kteří jsou z tohoto čísla doslova zděšeni, musím to říct takto otevřeně, a neodpovídá to tomu, jak to funguje tento koncept v zahraničí, protože já jsem sám měl možnost navštívit několik energetických společenství, třeba i v Belgii, mluvil jsem i s předsedou významného energetického společenství v Belgii, Pauw, který vlastně ukazoval, máme skoro 70 000 odběratelů, bojujeme dokonce proti energetické chudobě. Naši účastníci toho našeho společenství už si dávno zvykli na to, že dosahujeme těchto výkonů a vlastně neohrožujeme žádnou stabilitu naší energetické sítě. Takže o tomto čísle bychom chtěli vést určitě debatu, byť pro mnohé projekty to bude dostačující, tak přece jenom zase jako ztratit třeba i několik, třeba 10, 15, 20% projektů, jenom proto, že tam dáme toto umělé číslo, mně připadá ne zcela podložené. Druhá věc, která je ještě možná zásadnější, je otázka míry distribučních poplatků, přenosových poplatků, protože komunitní energetika by měla skutečně spočívat na sdílení energie, kterou vyrobím v místě. Takže v obci maximálně přes hranici jedné obce, kde se jako dokáže takto vyrobená energie spotřebovat. Máme samozřejmě příklady v zahraničí, kdy Vídeň je součástí komunitní energetiky a tahá si energii třeba desítky kilometrů ze vzdálených oblastí. Ale ty distribuční poplatky, které u nás podle návrhu budou vlastně ve nestenčené míře zachovány, tak jsou významný problém a limit pro rozvoj komunitní energetiky, protože pokud vy budete muset zaplatit za využití té distribuční sítě vlastně plné poplatky a cílem nebylo právě zatížit takhle razantně ty vznikající energetické společnosti nebo ta společenství těmito odvody, tak to určitě podlomí jejich konkurenceschopnost a ten koncept bude určitě oslaben. My víme z řady států, jako je Francie, Rakousko, Španělsko, že třeba když si takzvaně opravdu využijete tu síť distribuční do úrovně několika kilometrů, 2, 3 jednotek kilometrů, tak dokonce někde to máte zadarmo. Právě to je podpora vzniku komunitních energetických společenství. My tam zatím v tom návrhu máme jako takzvaně plnou palbu. A toto bude předmětem našeho výrazného tlaku, protože já chápu zájem ministerstva a vlády na tom, aby byla zajištěna právě ta stabilita, aby to takzvaně zase přeneseně nedopadlo na ty energeticky chudé, ohrožené těmi poplatky, protože někdo je bude muset platit. Ale měl by se najít vyváženější model, protože nějaká úleva by tam určitě být měla, nějaká motivace. Právě v tom, že i uvidíte, že když vyrábíte energii v místě, tak máte i nižší poplatek. Prostě to je logické. Navíc vy nevyužíváte ty traťovody, energetické energovody, nevyužíváte desítky kilometrů. Dneska, když jste běžný zákazník, tak samozřejmě se vám dodává energie z elektráren třeba desítky kilometrů. A já tam chápu, že potom teda mám platit vlastně plnou hodnotu té distribuce. Ale pokud využiju jenom jako část, opravdu velmi zanedbatelnou část, tak si myslím, že prostě je nesmyslné platit plnou částku. Je to jako třeba, když si koupíte železniční jízdenku na celou Českou republiku, tak zaplatíte za celou Českou republiku. A pokud si to koupíte na jeden kraj, nebo takzvaně na jednu obec, tak je ten poplatek musí být zákonitě nebetyčně jiný. A toto je, myslím, že výrazný problém. A myslím si, že tady obce už mi i volali starostové, že toto, když si to spočítali, tak mají pocit, že očekávali daleko vyšší míru podpory ze strany státu. A myslím, že tak byla i různá veřejná vyjádření zástupců této vlády, že to bude výhodné. A já tam zatím tuto výhodu jako nevidím. A ani to zahraniční srovnání nedopadá pro Českou republiku a pro ten návrh dobře. Takže o tom budeme chtít určitě jednat.